Hope your homes are back in working order
Awesome, man.
and and not you and your families weren't impacted too harshly. It is 12 o'clock noon, and it is Tuesday, July 16th. Begin with a roll call. Director Bill Freibel is absent. Director Bob Lux is here. Director Donna McAleer
Here.
is here. Director Paul Shue.
Here.
Director Dale Walker.
Here.
Very good. We have a quorum. We have an agenda. We'll have a meeting. We'll begin with invocation and pledges of allegiance. Heavenly Father, we come to you today as an assembled body. We humbly request that you bless our meeting, our community, and our nation. Help us to work diligently, always for the common good and in the best interests of those we have been elected to represent. Guide us to be insightful and prudent in our intentions, visions, plans, deliberations, decisions, and their fulfillment. Work through us to provide a spirit of welcome to all in attendance, to engage in respectful and thoughtful dialogue and discussion with understanding, wisdom, and humility. Amen.
Amen.
If you wish, prior to reciting the pledges of allegiance, please take an additional moment of silent prayer or reflection in the manner of your preference. Thank you. Pledge of allegiance to the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Very good. We have no comments from the public today, Shelley? Okay, agenda item 4, consider and act on requests for adjustments or relief from specific charges imposed by the district. None yet? I think they're coming though, Mike. I think once everybody takes inventory, there'll be a few requests, but not this month. Okay, the consent agenda, items 5 through 9. Do you have any questions regarding? I know it's been attended to, but the cover page we discussed, Shelley, needs to be revised, and I'm sure you've done that. The minutes are correct as to the officers and what have you. Always say the same thing every month, Jeannie, because we don't usually have a chance to do this independently, but percentage collected of 99.58 is pretty spectacular. You and your staff, thank you very much for your hard work. If there's any questions for clarifications required or changes to the consent agenda items, now's the time. If there is none, I'd appreciate a motion and a second. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, agenda item 10. Receive the regular monthly SJRE Woodlands Division report, including updates on operations, projects, and public outreach. Mr. Meeks?
In your package on page 17, nothing really to add to it. It's pretty normal. No violations, nothing out of the ordinary. Got through the hurricane just fine, no service interruptions. We did have power interruptions, but no service interruptions and no major damage.
Your generators work great.
They did.
I think it's a lesson for everybody.
Got us through the winter storm, Ike, Harvey, everything else. So, yeah.
Congratulations. That's good.
Any questions?
I've reviewed the matter. I don't have any. Anyone else? Very good. Thank you, Mr. Meeks. Consider an act on the draft of the 2025 SJRA Woodlands Division budget. Is that also your responsibility this time?
That is, nothing has changed in the budget as presented in May. It's a 2% so water rate reduction, wastewater rate staying the same, GRP rate, which y'all don't vote on, but it is being reduced 7%.
My review of the budget for comment purposes only is, I think it's a very aggressive budget. It's a very good budget because your revenues are projected to be down, but yet everybody knows that prices have gone up about 7% during this fiscal year, and you're underneath on revenue, on expenditures. And the increases came at expected categories: salaries, wages, and benefits, and professional services. I do have a question about professional fees. You have engineering, and it's up substantially, and there's 2 asterisks by that, and I couldn't see where the asterisks were explained. Maybe I'm missing something. I see it says 2017 bond expenditures excluded.
I'll explain that and I'll explain why it's increased. So the way accounting does the accounting is this budget's the catch-all for everything, even when you look at our financials. So if there's any bond proceed from the 2017 bond that is utilized, it runs through this budget. So when you look at the actuals, that number was about $1 million. But if you look at the O&M budget, it was in the $200,000-$400,000 range. So it looked like the actuals were a lot higher than the budget. So I asked them to remove all the bond related items. That also goes for any interest that we received, anything that went back to the bond or into the bond. Ask them to move out of this budget. That way you have truly O&M budget, you truly see R&R and bond. But that account is higher for 2 main reasons. One is we're going to do a 6th and final accounting SFDUE audit, if you will. Look at all the parcels across the entire Woodlands, kind of true up the SFUEs. But that's the bulk of it, about 150,000. The second is there were some revisions to Senate Bill 3 from TCEQ in November of last year. We should make sure our plan is up to date with what their recommended actions were.
Does this more go to LJA or to outside consultants?
The Senate Bill 3 or the SFUE?
The entire line item. I mean, is it?
That is various consultants.
Okay.
We actually do not do any work in the Woodlands with LJA that I know of. So the SFUEs is probably going to be one of our 3 contractors we have under consultants we have under support contract, I guess you call it, or whatever, on-call contracts. One is Freeze and Nichols, probably will not be done. I feel like they've had enough work lately. The other 2 is Arcera and I believe LAN. So.
Very good. I think it's an aggressive budget. I hope that it doesn't blow up in your face with increased costs of living and inflation. Further discussion on this agenda item? So this is an action item, so we'll be taking a vote, all in favor of the, we need a motion, please, someone.
I make the motion, we accept.
Okay, I'll second. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion on this agenda item, number 11.
Is it in our packet or
Um,
previous budget.
It was not in the budget that I found, but we were provided it about 2 months ago,
Yeah.
3 months ago.
If you'd like a copy of it.
Hey, I'd like to see one again, please. Left it at home apparently. Thank you. Do you need one, Dale? Okay.
Reminder, this is a vote to authorize your trustee to vote for the budget at the August meeting. It's not technically in my approval of the budget, it's to authorize your trustee on the vote.
Give another one.
Pass that to you. See that again. Thank you. Okay, action 2023. Budget. So we're going down $1.1 million in operating revenues.
Mhm.
And so we're forecasting revenues to go down.
We are, but the main driver for that, if you look at that page I just gave you, if you go down to GRP pumping fees and go to the far right, that is down 966,000. That's because the GRP fee is being reduced. So
I see.
that 7% is going to drop their revenue. So you're going down 130,000. Roughly. And the other difference is, so the bulk of it is GRP. The other difference in the revenue drop is the water conservation. Water loss is being reduced from 5.5% to 4%.
That was in your packet here, I saw. Where you predicted 5.5, but you're at 4.8 or so, right?
Correct.
On page 18.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, further discussion required? We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
I
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Thank you. Okay. Receive update regarding status of Bear Branch, Panther Branch, and Research Forest Drive projects, drainage improvement project. I assume you're on the deck again? Is that? Eric, oh, good.
No update.
No update. Okay. I've received the attorney's report, agenda item 13.
Nothing to cover under item 13. I will also note that in visiting with Eric, we're going to defer on the additional closed session discussion until next month.
So we do not require agenda item 16.
That's correct.
Okay, nor 17 then, obviously. Okay. Agenda item 14, receive and or act on the general manager's report, pages 40 to 44.
Yes. Couple things to add to the report. Just wanted to tell you a little bit about how we managed through the storm. We lost power here right around 9:30 or 10 o'clock or so on the morning Friday. We had some employees that were here. Once we lost power, folks went back home. And then from there, we essentially had operations running remotely from various houses. Folks that had service and connection and whatnot.
Were you
So,
able to keep the internet going? You
How?
did.
well, yes and no, depended. Personally, mine, once my generator kicked on, it stayed on
Okay.
for a few hours. Then it kicked off. Then the whole area power went out, and then mine went back on Monday evening.
Monday evening you got it.
Got it back, and then it worked through Tuesday afternoon. So I was all evening and Tuesday to mid-afternoon, I was able to send emails. But what I did was, what I learned was that if you switch your phone off of Wi-Fi
Gotcha.
and make it ping, try to ping cell
Yeah.
as a primary, then it works a lot faster
Okay.
because it's not trying to ping both. Because these phones appear to be looking for Wi-Fi first if you got that turned on. So if it's not available, it's going to keep trying to get to it. So we were able to communicate pretty well. We created a group text with managers here. Our field folks were addressing calls, most of which were tree falls on the house line, water line in the attic breaks, need the water turned off,
Mhm.
Yeah.
or roots, tree falls, roots uproot, pull up break the water line in the yard. Can I, need to turn that water off? Those were most of the calls that we were receiving water related. There was rumors they were moving around about boil water notices. That never was the case.
Yeah.
John and I John happened to be on vacation as this was all happening, and he got stuck trying to get back.
Yeah.
So he was in a hotel room up in the northwest, and I was on my patio basically trying to draft up a community notification, one to ensure folks that the water was safe and uninterrupted. So that went out, I believe, Wednesday morning. That was sent out via the email system, and then also hit the social media outlets that we use as well. So wanted to make sure that our customers understood that water was still in good shape.
Yeah, the cell phone towers have 3 days of batteries. That's what because in Ike, they go out at 3 days,
Really.
72 hours.
But all.
I was going to say this time it seemed like that. Our internet went out. We couldn't go to the cell tower. But yeah, the cell towers are normally supposed to have 3 days of juice from the batteries. You could tell in Ike when they went out. It was just like story.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on keeping the commo up.
Yeah, everything worked. This is my first run through kind of a natural disaster in this position.
Mhm.
And we tried a few things that we're going to do internally is just look at what worked and how we can improve for next time, our internal communications and how we dealt with it. But we go pretty well. So,
If it were worse, would you have to go to satellite phones? I mean, if we'd had a Cat 4,
sure,
let's say.
no telling. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to answer that. that's something certainly to consider. Another district talked about generators here at this office and the field office. We got power here like a lot of the Woodlands did early Wednesday morning. And then the field office didn't get power until Friday.
Oh,
So they were a little bit further out. We were able to manage. Just a couple other quick things. We will have budget and tax discussions next month, so it'll be kind of a busy month in August. We'll be working on that behind the scenes for you and present that next month. I did want to report that Mike Mooney is going to be retiring, and so this would be his last round of meetings full time. So his last day will be August 1. He just passed his 20-year anniversary a few weeks ago, and so going to be a big loss for us. And we're actively in search for a replacement, and hope to have one soon. But in the meantime, probably rely on him a little bit on a part-time basis just to keep us going on a few things, but be a big loss. But congratulating him on his retirement, for sure.
Thanks for everything, Mike, for 20 years.
I appreciate it.
And with that, kick it over to John for a quick comms report.
Okay.
Afternoon. Everybody get their supplemental. Hopefully you saw your water quality report, mail, via email, otherwise. The various ways we push that out. That is a really important piece for us. When folks are measured on how much they trust their water quality, there's a direct time with how much communication they get from the utility. The more they get from us on anything, the more they trust their water. And that's what that research there by AWA points out. And then just want to bring forward some past survey results there on the right there that show that we enjoy almost 10 points better than the national average satisfaction level in our water quality. So that's a good thing. Eric talked about the hurricane. I did want to touch on page 2 there at the bottom, that Wilderness Community Magazine article. So that is out in print. That goes to every home in the Woodlands, and it is online with the township. That was on to the preference renewal. So check that out if you haven't seen it yet. And that's about it for today.
It was a well-written article that was in there about the future of the.
A lot of folks reviewed that. There definitely is. Good question.
I have none. Thank you, John. All right, moving right along. Agenda item 15, receive the Woodlands Water Trustees Report, pages 45 and 46. Eric, please.
There was a lengthy discussion at the trustee meeting. There was an eventual vote, which voted 10-0 to authorize SJRA to utilize a budget item for owner's advisor to use that money to hire yet a new third-party outside consultant to evaluate the wastewater treatment plant. One of the things that was a little different in the trustee meeting from what you heard last month, at the time that the meetings were going on last month, I think Ed's original proposal or original presentation included 2 or 3 options as part of the analysis: MBR and conventional in place, or excuse me, on the adjacent land, new land, and then replace in place on top of the existing facility. I don't believe the conversation went to a repair in place option, at least at your meeting.
No, it did not.
Right. So somewhere by the end of probably the fourth meeting last month, that discussion, as multiple meetings started to bring that another option up, that presentation kind of morphed into having a fourth option, which eventually was presented to the trustees and approved 10-0. That fourth option was to repair in place. And so what that means is looking to repair whatever needs to be repaired and get it upkept for the next 25 years. SGRA presented, and I think the motion was to look at that on a 50-year basis. What I've asked SGRA to do is consider it in two 25-year chunks, because one of the requests from a handful of trustees and board members is that they want to look at a 25-year. And so I think in order to get apples to apples, all four of them need to be looked at 50 years. But if you break down that fourth option into two pieces, you can get the 25 and then put it together and still have apples to apples, kind of hopefully achieves what everybody's trying to get at. So that was approved 10-0 at the trustee meeting, and that's where we're at. That was the majority of the discussion.
Well, I was there, but I forgot to ask some pertinent questions that I'll ask you now. I'm glad that you did that other option. The last line item, Trustee Maggard would like to know how many municipalities have built new water reclamation facilities. How would that be obtained? Would that come through the TCEQ? Could that, I mean, I don't know how it sounded like, okay, but then I thought, how the heck would you get that data?
We just asked the consultant to survey additional other consultants just to see, because his question was, build a new water reclamation facility in lieu of repairing what. So if you have the same discharge point, TCQ is not really gonna know.
Something. Okay, so you've asked the other consultants to do that. I wrote something here on one of the sheets, and it just reminded me of why I wrote it down. If you do there it is. Based upon what's shown on page 19, as far as reported versus permitted flows through the treatment plants, if we were to go with a 25-year plant, it appears to me, please correct me if I'm wrong, that this would totally take away the conveyance option to shut down treatment plant 2 and move everything to treatment plant 1. And also, it seemed as though the discussion was also made, the comment was made that in 25 years, we're probably going to be looking at the same thing for wastewater treatment plant 2. So to go to a 25-year option, in 25 years, it's going to be very difficult to rehab 2 different plants. And the conveyance option would be spectacular in cost.
It'd be much like the first consolidation study we did 2.5 years ago, where that cost just for the conveyance line itself was 150 million plus. But you could go to plant 2 in 25 years and try to push that off 25 years and just kick the can consecutively. Yeah, if you push plant 1 25 years and you have plants 1 and 2 merging, and then plant 3 is about 5 years after that, so in about 30 years, you have to look at plant 3.
There's no way possible to take that little bit of flow from 3 and bring it over, is there? That wouldn't be cost effective, would it?
Yeah, not to plant 1, but plant 2, it may be feasible. That's 25 years away.
Okay. I looked at those numbers in light of that conversation, and I thought that just blows up the conveyance option of consolidating from 2 to 1 in 25 years. Yeah, glad you confirmed that. Thank you. Further discussion on the trustees report? Hearing none, we bypassed agenda item 16. I guess we can discuss item 18, matters for future placement on future agendas. Anyone have anything?
No, just what we were discussing on the 4 options. if there's any updates on those.
There,
No, there won't,
There
yeah,
won't be.
for a while. Once the estuary board, I don't know if the estuary board has to approve the reallocation of those funds.
They do the
Yeah.
scope change.
Yeah. So once that occurs, then they would be able to authorize that additional consultant to start this analysis. It's expected that an analysis would take about 8 months or so to complete. And along the way, there was discussion, I forgot to mention this in the trustee meeting, the importance of developing a decision matrix, I think is what it was called, basically to identify, okay, once that analysis is done, what are some parameters that we could utilize to be able to make a decision? Because it might not be as simple as just picking the cheapest. It might, or, there's going to be different components to, and reasons why, pros and cons of why one option or two, whatever, might make more sense than the other. And so kind of creating a decision matrix that helps make that decision when that day comes. And so that is probably going to be a discussion that we start having here in the next few months, before we really get any updates on the analysis. The analysis is going to take a while, 8 months. And then the idea is that it would be presented once complete, roughly 8 months from now, or 8 months from when they get started. And then the MUDs would have a few months to digest it and see it and
Chew on
review chew on it. Absolutely.
Next year.
that is unfortunately, but we're going to lose about another year on whether it's going to be a go or no go situation and how we're going to go or no go.
Right. And AC is kind of on that same time frame too, about next summer, roughly.
Spent a lot of money so far. We haven't got anywhere close to putting a shovel in the ground. What are we, somebody told me about $3.2 million worth of studies.
That's right.
Okay. Any other, Dale, anything for next time?
Appreciate it.
Paul?
Nothing.
Okay, hearing none, can adjourn this meeting. Thank you.